give me that. Okay, great. So everyone, this is my new Hoop Doctor show. I can totally see if you ask questions, and I would very much appreciate it if you actually sent me some questions, or I'm essentially just talking to myself. But I know the questions that everyone asks. So hopefully I can start off with a quick question, some of the questions that I get asked most often. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the age-old question of what size hoop should I use? And we all hate this question. Well, if you've been hooping a long time, or if you're a hoop teacher or whatever, you know that every 5 minutes someone will ask you, what sort of size hoop do you use? So I actually have 3 different sizes that I use for different things. So I have my normal hoops, actually, these ones, which is my middle hoop, which is a 33-inch hoop. Can't tell you how much that is in centimeters. I should probably know that. But the reason I really like this hoop as my sort of main hoop, and I use this for my twins a lot, is because it's the biggest I can get away with without it being bigger than my inside leg length. This means 2 things. One, that when I'm doing wedgies or something like that, it's the hoop will sit. I've got shorts on, don't worry. The hoop will sit halfway down my leg. And secondly, when I'm in full extension for twin stuff, so when I'm doing, for instance, extensions, I don't have to lift my shoulder at the bottom. I have a second hoop that I got more recently. I got these 4 little quads from Hoopology. Oh, and by the way, this is a HDPE. Don't ask me why I like it more. I just really like the HDPE for some reason. It's also really good if you travel a lot because it doesn't get so affected by like temperature and folding down. I recently got these 4 little quad hoops from Hoopology, and these are 29-inch Polypro, and I just decided to go for Polypro just because I hadn't had any for a while. And I got these actually not so much to do quads, although I will be doing some quads. I got them because I am doing okay, Penny. Yeah, no second. I'll answer that in a second. So basically I got these because a lot of the sort of Instagram moves that the sort of Instagram style of hooping, a lot of it actually requires a smaller hoop. Although what I've been realizing is actually a lot of the moves require the hoop to be actually smaller than your inside arm length. And this one isn't quite there. So I have a squeeze here rather than it just going underneath. But my favorite is hoops at the moment. And I'm going to see if I can blag this just because you guys are here. And hi, Penny. Look, I've been working on this for like 2 months. I haven't practiced today. So I'm going to do the cheats way where I actually get them started. I couldn't do this. Like 13 years I haven't been able to do this. Bear with me. Watch me not be able to do it now. So I've been drilling every single, wait for it. Go down. Okay. Usually have less clothes on. Oh no, come on. It's because you're all here. Okay. I can do it, guys. I can do it when no one's here, but I'm going to show you that. I'll show you next week again. We'll have a little see how well it's going. I usually do it with less clothes on. So yeah, I've been practicing my 4 split, and these hoops are 36-inch Goldilocks hoops, again from Hoopology, and they've got this 3M grip tape in them. And I'm literally like, I love them. So Penny has just asked me on Facebook, what if I do any other work in addition to hooping? And honestly, no, not anymore, which is weird. I do a bit of event management. So for instance, the Tadar hoop events. I help run them, the Tadar space in Turkey. So even if I'm not teaching, I help to organize. So I do a lot of administration for that. But not anymore. No, I mean, when I quit my job, I used to be a scientist back in the day. So I did my PhD, and then I became a postdoctoral scientist at the University of Bristol. And after that, I just, I dove straight into hoops basically, and I was running regular classes in Bristol, hundreds of them. Well, I think I had 13 a week at one point, in-person classes across Bristol, Merthyr Tydfil, Cardiff. So I went all around to places in Wales as well. And I did like workshops and stuff and things like that. So I jumped straight in. Obviously, I do something in addition to hooping. I would say about 50% of my income comes from Blue Booby, which is my clothing line. And I'm not a designer of that. All of my creative input is all from hula hooping, actually. Like, so if I all my creative side is sort of used up in the hooping stuff. I just found that I really enjoyed when I was out here in Bali. I was finding these clothes that everyone enjoyed wearing, and I have a really nice relationship with the family who own the shop here, who sells them. And so I basically just buy clothing and bring it over from Bali over to Europe and sell there. So that's my bluebooby.com is my thing. Ooh, woo! So Lila got some more Blue Booby today. That's exciting. Yeah, so Penny, it's not. I have to say, the whole earning enough from hooping. If I was living in the UK, I don't think I would be earning enough from what I'm doing. So I think this is the sort of. I would say it's very, very, very rare to find hula hoopers who are teaching full time. You'll quite often find people who are performing full time because the money's better, basically, and you can get more work. Because if you're going to teach, obviously you have to get beginners students or people who are already hoopers, and that limits your market. Whereas if you actually perform as well, everyone loves the performance. So I mean, as long as you're good and you're willing to work, I mean, none of this is easy. So I would say I definitely work harder now than when I work more. Probably more hours. I don't think I ever stop, really. And especially at the moment where I'm so excited about all these things that I'm like, now I've sort of really delved into sort of the online learning world, which I've been doing since 2011, actually. I've been selling online classes since 2011, but really the resources just weren't there in 2011. Okay, so I've got a few questions. I'm just gonna come down and answer the questions. Hi, Dory, where are you? I have a question. Shin break. What do you watch out for when you reverse it from hooping outwards to inwards? Do you mean, Dory, do you mean the vertical one? Do you mean this shin break? This one? Or do you mean like this one? Do you mean the horizontal one? So I need to know if you mean horizontal and vertical. I'm assuming you mean the vertical, actually. But, okay, here we go. So I'll go over both of them, Dory, and if you just remind me, that one, perfect, the first one. So basically there's two shin breaks, reverse it from hooping outwards to inwards. So from outwards to inwards, so this would be this direction to, sorry, here we go. So outwards to inwards, what I'm looking for is when the hoop is furthest away from me, because as the hoop passes from this side here, as it goes over the top, that's where I have space to bend my leg in. So I would say definitely, so you're waiting for the hoop to pass from here, if this was my foot, from here all the way over to here, because as it's passing over the top, that's when the gap is there for your knee to squidge in. So let me just try and show you what I mean. So from here, if I squidge in, so go back. The other one's much harder, the top one. I hate it. I shouldn't say that, but I do. So from here, as that hoop goes over the top like this, that's when, as soon as it's high enough that it's over my foot, that's when I can get my leg in. And I'll try and show it to you one more time here, just so from this position here. So this is where I end up with my foot. So I have got shorts on, everyone. So what I would suggest, as soon as once it's got to its highest point, that's when there's a space. You're watching so that there's a space for your knee to come in. I hope that helps. Okay, let me see. Who have I missed? How can I when someone is watching filming me hoop? I can't do tricks. Yeah, so Natalie, that just happened. I tried to show so Natalie has just asked about if someone is watching or filming her, she can't do the tricks that she can normally do. And I totally understand this. I've been practicing my 4-beat for my 4-hoop split every day. And what happens is every time I get excited about it, I realize I've held it for ages and the hoops are on my way. And I'm like, yes, I am amazing. I am a multi-hooper. And then I get Jason to come in, my partner. And I'm like, Jace, let me show you. And he's just like, not even a hooper. He tries to look enthusiastic. I do this nearly every day, bless him. But I don't have anyone else to show. So, but yeah, but I can't. It's like really hard when someone else is there. And I think, I think what most performers would tell you, practice more, you know. And I think Lila was talking about this on the show that she does, that she was on Morgan's Flow and Tell show last week, the podcast show she's been doing, or the Instagram Live. And Lila was saying about that the big thing is not when you can do the trick, but when you can do it on stage. And that's like, it's like the next step on from being able to do it in your bedroom, you know. So practice more. Yes, okay, awesome. So guys, I have no extra questions. So come on, you need to throw some questions at me. Go, guys. I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes and I'm going to do something boring. But you're going to be like, oh, Emma, why are you doing that? Okay, I'm going to give you a second to come up with some questions. I'm just going to check that my questions are linked from all the places. Excellent. So if you've just arrived, welcome. And please feel free to come and come and ask questions. Oh, I've got an angry face. Don't be angry, guys. Okay, great. So, okay. Oh, excellent. Oh, what do I love about hooping? Well, I have to say, in terms of hoop stuff, I would say it's the community. Like, it's everyone. Like, if anything, like, this has completely changed my life. Like, I'm from, like, a lot of you are from the UK. I'm from Corby in Northamptonshire. That's like a very, like, normal town, like, working class town in the middle of England. And now I live in Bali. It's not even real life. Like, who does that? And that's all down to the hula hoops. You know, I'd done poi and stuff like that before, but really, like, the fact that the community is so amazingly supportive worldwide and so keen to support people if they feel they get a lot out of you know, classes or workshops. It's just amazing. And I've been all over the world and I've met people all over the place. And for me, that's the best thing about hooping. That's awful, isn't it? That it's not like, but I have so many hobbies. Like, I love doing all sorts of things. So obviously I love learning new things and all the standard stuff. But if I had to put the top thing, it would definitely be the community. How do I structure my training? Honestly, don't tell anyone, but I don't train. I mean, that's a lie. Sometimes I train, but not really anymore. It's not my, what I actually find now, which is weird. Well, let's talk about if I do train. Okay. So the way that what happens with me usually is, so at the moment I am training. I'm doing about an hour of my 4 hoop drills every day, and I'm doing standard drills. I'm doing like 2 minutes here, both directions, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, both directions, 2 minutes knees, and 2 minutes hands, both directions above my head. And then I'm doing 2 hoop drills. So I'm doing like 1 and 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 1. And I started off doing 1 hoop drills, just doing 1 minute on each segment. And what I would do is I did 1 minute until I could stand completely straight and not have to turn around. And then once I got to that, I did about a week of just doing a minute on that point, not turning around. And then I gradually added the more time. And that's what I'm doing with all of my multiples as well. Like, so where I've got a multiple where it's exhausting and I'm like having to turn and I'm like, like, I'm only doing 1 minute of that at the moment, but gradually I'll build up to 2 minutes standing straight. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I think generally, I don't have a specific sort of training schedule. Like when I'm at Tadar, which I know you are at the moment, like, so when I'm at Tadar, I often actually chill in that. The people that run Tadar are always like, Emma, why are you on your computer all the time? Because I'm always working. Because honestly, being a professional hula hooper it's not actually hula hooping. It's not hula hooping. It's mostly admin. I've spent the whole day doing website updates and doing administration and advertising. And even now, when I'm doing a hoop Q&A, I'm chatting. So it's you don't actually do as much hooping as you would imagine. If I am in a training time, what I would generally do is I would have a general on body or just a standard hoop around to like get warmed up. And there have been many times in my life where I get into these training times. I suppose I can't say I'm not training when I'm doing like 40 to 50 minutes a day on body training. So yeah, I'm quite excited that I'm doing that. But if I'm training tricks, often I'll do a segment where I'll do a warm up, which will just be putting a song that I love on and just hooping. And then I'll work maybe on something that I'm specifically looking to drill. So for instance, if I'm thinking I really want to clean up my shoulder duck outs, I might do like 10 shoulder duck outs on each side, both directions, or I might train just my rolls or something. And then generally I'll just play around until I make mistakes, and then I'll play around with the mistakes and see if I can turn them into something else. I have lots of different things that I use in terms of, I have some flow cards that I teach in my teacher training, and I have them in my head. I don't use them. So often I'll be like, okay, so I've got a trick. Let's say, well, we did this in today's thing. So escalator. So this is an escalator. Well, can I do that backwards? Like this? What happens if I catch behind my back? What happens if I turn into it as I do it? What happens if I turn away from it? And so essentially I just sort of go through that sort of mind pattern with a certain trick that maybe I'm enjoying. And then often I'll have like a section where I do one hoop and a section where I do two hoops. But to be quite honest, I have no set training regime at all. I do whatever I feel like whenever I feel like it. And I used to really stress out about how much I was doing and I should be doing more. And I'd see people on Instagram and I'd be like, oh, they train an hour a day. I'm a terrible person. I don't do any, and I'm a professional hoop teacher. But I just gave up on stressing myself about it. And actually, by giving up on stressing myself about it, I've ended up with this opportunity after 13 years to get into a type of hooping that I thought I would never, ever do. So, yes, I hope that answers the question. Neck hooping variations and vertical on volley hooping. Also, well, actually, Rowena. So we're actually doing in my Zoom classes this week, which are all by donation, so you can just come the same as this. They are all on neck hooping, duck outs, shoulders, everything. So I'm doing like 9 hours of classes on duck outs and chest and neck hooping, and vertical is going to be in the advanced class actually, but we can do a little bit now. And reverse escalators, I literally just covered them last week in the Zoom classes. yeah, George, I can't help it. You should hear me when I've been home. My friend George has just said it. I went all Corby when I started talking about Corby. I lost my accent a long time ago. Too many universities and too much worldwide travel has basically changed how I speak. But if I go home for a bit, I definitely speak. I definitely pick it up. But yeah, yes, playing with mistakes and reverse hooping. They're like two of my biggies, I think. Oh, hi, Jackie. Awesome. Let me just see. So, Rowena, just because you've asked and because we haven't done much hooping, maybe we will do just something vertical for now. And I will be covering some of this in I don't know exactly the content of my Zoom workshops this week, but we're definitely doing neck and shoulders and stuff like that. One thing I'd say about neck, and I cannot remember if I picked up this tip from Lolly Hoops in Boston or Ali Luminescent. One of them, I think they're both voice and speech therapists. And a really top tip that I think is amazing is they said when you're doing neck hooping, push your tongue against the top of your mouth. And because by doing that, you engage all the muscles here. And especially if you're using a heavier hoop, it's a really good thing to sort of protect like everything that's in your neck. I think that's genius. It was nice to come from a proper, I will have to find out which one of them. And what I would say about neck hooping in general is basically I do all of my neck hooping, it's not really coming from, it's not like a chicken. I'm not like this. It's very much like my body. And I'm actually using I'm pushing. If you will look at my arms, I'm keeping them wobbly so you can see how much I'm moving. And if I stop moving my body, then the hoop comes down. So I would definitely suggest pushing your tongue into the top of your mouth, and then neck hooping variations though. Again, yeah, so neck hooping variations. Wow, on the spot. So I mean, obviously the main things from neck hooping are probably your shoulder duck outs, in terms of like, so bringing your shoulder in and bringing your shoulder out on both sides. So again, we're going to be covering this in the Zoom classes this week, but hey, can't harm to do it twice. And I'll tell you what, and I will post it on the post to this. There was a really amazing tutorial that I can't remember how she did it. I'm going to post it on the thing for you. Yeah, Rowena, you're watching on YouTube, so I'll post it on one of your comments I'll post it on my YouTube. Someone did this really nice sort of, it was like this, and then it flopped through. Anyway, I can't do it, but I'm going to send you it because it was amazing, and it's the best neck hooping variation that I've seen. A really nice neck hooping variation that I really like is spinning on your neck, and if you can make it go like, I got told off by Mike Hayataka that mine isn't actually vertical, but if you're spinning on your neck vertically, as it comes up to this position here, if you stretch your arm out and pull your head back, the hoop will go down your arm. Now, when you first start doing this, I would recommend actually like practicing just the arm section. So it's going from the chest. You can hold it there. You can put your arm out, bring your thumb back, and just let it fall down your arm. And obviously you can do this both directions. So from here, if you open out, and just practice getting it from here, from this close to your neck, down your arm. From there, this is not the best for microphones on here, but we'll see what happens. So if you can, when your hoop is going to be horizontal, is going to be vertical, and you really want to try and get it as vertical as possible. I have a tendency to make it go like this. It's a bit annoying. But if you can get it as vertical as you can, and then essentially so I'm bouncing my knees, bounce, 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 look up. So what you're getting is a bounce, 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 look up. Oh, headphone. Sorry if that made a horrible sound. Bounce, 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 look up. And for me, because I've got my headphones on, I'm having to lean back like a lot to get out of it. But it's a nice little move to if you want to have a go at it. What else have we got? Any other questions, guys? I'm going to go over that again. So if you go in the other direction, so if you're spinning so if I'm this way, if I'm pushing the hoop to the left like this, it's going to come off on my right arm like this. And if I'm spinning the hoop to the right, watch me not be able to do this now. Emma, don't tell them that you don't practice both ways. I do mostly. Oh, one more try. Natalie, this is what you were saying about not being able to do things when you... Yeah, so basically, if the hoop isn't vertical, like if your hoop's kind of like this, then when it comes off, it's going to come off backwards, which means you have to pull back further. So when you're doing this, if you're going to try this, just try and like really bend your knees and like clench your stomach, because you're going to be throwing yourself back quite a lot. And I think like you don't want to be doing that with straight legs. And this is quite a nice one. This movement, if any of you can do, and again, we're going to do this in the Zoom class this week, I think, is if you're going to do this movement where you come onto the body like this, if instead of, or like this, it doesn't matter. But if instead of coming onto the body completely, which would be for your vertical hooping, and I can show this completely, then basically if you make sure the second part of the hoop makes contact with your neck here, then when you pull up, it will go into that roll. So from here, I'm spinning inwards. I'm going to grab it and place it onto my neck almost. And then when it's moving, it's going to come up. So let's see. So we're going to go on and, oh, honestly. So on and up, but pretend it rolled, obviously. Any other vertical hooping tips, chest and waist? So, Jackie, this is like 100%. I'm going to get I would use my big hoop. I would use my bigger hoop normally, but it's blue, so it's not particularly useful. So, let me think. so old school. This is like 2010 hooping. Like my hips. So top tip actually is to try and go to one of Baxter's classes actually, and he's running lots of classes at the moment. If you can go to Jonathan Baxter's classes, anything like on body, vertical or horizontal, he's like a bit of a master, and he actually improved mine a lot. So I would say definitely like go and check out his classes. He's it's the Hoop Path is his company. If you don't know who Jonathan Baxter is and you're a hooper, then you definitely should. But he's doing classes at the moment, so he's very good. But at the waist, so I definitely use my legs more than my body. And I did a class with Anna Hippalicious years ago, and she was showing the difference between using your body and your legs. And actually, it's the combination of the two that makes it really good. So Anna was saying, so what Anna does, and she's got some really good videos of this, where she's basically doing her vertical hooping, which I'm doing by basically bouncing on my knees like this. But what she does is all of a sudden she'll straighten her legs, and she's basically like using like the actual pump of her stomach to actually do the hoop. And I suppose it's similar to doing this sort of thing, by doing it like this, using your whole body, or pulling in and like trying to keep your whole body straight, which I can't do with this size hoop. Yeah, no, I love it as well. So Jackie was just saying it's old school, but it looks awesome, and it's totally true. It does look awesome. And I tend to cheat, and I'll often just do like 2 and then come off or something like that, because I'm a bit of a cheat. That's like my MO. But I would say from the top half, let me see. So again, this is very Baxter. Like, so try not to get trapped with your arms close to you. Like, you can really use your arms in these positions. So if you watch when I'm here, I'm going to try it with my blue hoop. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I think it might be actually, yeah, it'll be all right. So you notice that I'm using both my arms to actually do the movement. So similar to if I was really straight up here, like, I have to use my chest loads to do it here. But if I'm chest hooping and I have my left arm can like wipe a table, and my right arm can poke a small child. It's not real. It's like a joke. It's a joke for any Americans here. It's like, we make jokes about stuff like that all the time in Britain. I know it's weird. Don't judge us. It's a country problem. But anyway, so I think it's kind of similar. Like, you've got the push from the chest, the push from the back, you've got this arm doing a motion, and you've got this arm doing a motion. And I actually think whether you're horizontal or vertical, that's kind of the key, really, is to, like, because for me, I use too much of this shoulder shrug. So I kind of poke the child a bit too enthusiastically, and I don't wipe the table enough. Probably, like, that's kind of my life, actually. But like, when hanging around with small children, I'm more like into like prodding them and having a laugh. Play with me, than wiping tables. But anyway, that's beside the point. So you see, I'm pushing with this with my right arm, but my left arm could be doing more. And so now I'm thinking about pushing more with that right arm. And then obviously at any point I could jump. And I use turns. I use the turns to kind of guide it around. Brakes and paddles done better when quicker. I can do it quick, but it's just a little slower. Okay. Pat a small child's head. Yes, that's very much nicer. Pat the small child's head. But I feel more like I'm doing this. Poke him in the face. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's wrong. Okay, so yeah, so and I am going to be doing, as I say, in my Zoom classes this week, I'm going to be doing lots and lots of shoulders and duck outs and things. So what you can do is, if you can't make the live classes, the recaps are also on my website. You can find it on the links. There's a links like hoopingmad.co.uk/links. It's like all the links that you need for my stuff, and that is on the video link, the video description here. So maybe after the week finishes, you can have a little look at the recap, and I'll have like retaught again in the recap, so you can check it out there. So brakes and paddles, Wow, it's like a Baxter extravaganza. This is all the stuff I learned from Baxter. So basically, what I would recommend is just getting really used, instead of thinking about brakes and paddles like one thing, you know, like, oh, paddle, paddle, brake, paddle, paddle, brake, paddle, paddle, brake. Instead of thinking it like that, which is great, but it's kind of a bit like when you learn a 3-beat weave, but you don't learn the component parts. You don't learn the two-beat weaves, which is my pet hate. Pet hate, by the way, for twin hooping. Anyone who's done a workshop with me on twins will know that. So yeah, basically with the paddle stuff, what I would actually recommend is learning them as separate units. So if you're turning to the left, you can brake with your left hand. If you're turning to the right, you can brake with your right hand. And these are like kind of open brakes because they happen over here. You could also brake the other hand. So the opposite hand can come across, and it's braking in the same position as the other one did. So it would be here, and my hand would have broke here, but instead I bring this one across and I use this one. So it's exactly the same. So I can either do that brake, or I can do this brake. And that means that you can put them together. Stop, 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 stop. And these are actually really nice for vertical, actually, Jackie, to go back to your vertical, because I actually find brakes are a really useful way of just practicing getting confident, because you could always be like, brake, twist 1, 2, brake, 1, 2, sort of thing. And then with the paddles, again, if you learn to paddle with just your left hand going to the left, with just your right hand going to the left, then you can switch direction. Oh, actually, you could do both. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can't do it with this hoop. Shh, don't tell anyone. Can't stand still with this hoop. And then turning to the right, it's the same. So you start with just learning your right hand, and then your left hand, and then do right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, until you feel really confident. And then you can sort of place those things together in different units. So for instance, then you've got a normal brake, and you can do paddle, paddle, stop. Paddle, paddle, stop. So that paddle, paddle brake is basically just, if you're going round to the left, and then you do a stop, and then as you're going to the right, you do your paddle, 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 paddle. And then this time we're going to stop, and we're going to stop it. Okay, and then we can go the other way. But the only thing you need to do to make it into the full paddle, paddle brake is basically have your arm in ready when you throw it back. So you can see what I mean. So I throw it onto my arm, immediately bring this arm in, and then bring this arm out. So the motion is throw onto this arm, goes into this arm, and this one comes out. And then this one just stays in, ready. So throw onto this one, this one comes in, this one goes out. It's really hard. I'm watching myself, and I'm not mirrored. I'm like the opposite, which I think I might have to sort out, actually, guys, because I'm sure that's going to be very confusing for you guys. So I might make myself mirrored next time I do the show. So push here, hits this arm. I then bring this arm in to hit, and then I take this one out. So for instance, when I've got the hoop, notice where my hand is. Push, push, stop. Push, push, stop. So I actually change hands, push. So while this one comes in, this one's already coming out. So there's always an arm in the hoop, and my hands stay by my face. And then you can sort of speed up from there. But I think the thing with the brakes is, without the speed, you are going to lose the momentum. So in any of the brakes, if you try and do them slowly, the hoop will flop down on the other side. So I think, anyway. So yes, I think they are better when they're quicker, because slower makes them flop. So Rowena, you just asked, do I teach it in Bali? No, I don't, actually, because it's my home base. And I have thought about getting a work visa for here and doing regular classes, but it's a very, very transient. I live in Ubud, which is a very bye Jackie. I I live in a bud, which is kind of like the hippie spiritual center place in Bali. Because I mean, and I don't drink, so for me, it's really nice here. It's like the vegan. It's like a mass. I'm vegan and I don't drink, and it's not really a drinking culture here. And also because it's where the royal family live, and they have kind of rules. I think it's like one bar, and you can get a drink if you want to go somewhere. But it's really just like, you know, the Bali that a lot of people know, which is like down south and where you go out drinking and stuff. It's just not up here. Up here's all yoga schools and vegan vegan restaurants and some amazing food. So that's the reason I live here. But it also obviously now is a bit different. But usually the population is extremely transient. And yes, there are people who would come to regular classes, but to get the work visa is quite expensive. So it would have to be something that that I really like sort of devoted some time to and tried to get like lots of class members for, or alternatively running events here. But again, I'm going to think about it over the next year actually, and maybe start running events here next year. But I do want to get my work visa sorted for that. And I don't know what's happening. Visas are a bit all over the place at the moment, so who knows? Okay. Any other questions? Come on, guys. You got to give me some questions, or I'm going to just say some things. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I had on my list that I wanted to say to you guys. What's my favorite thing at the moment? Just gonna like, I don't know. What is my favorite thing at the moment? That's my own question to myself. So I suppose no one's asking me any questions currently, so I'm going to do the other classic question that everybody asks, which is how to get the hoops up from the knees. So I'm going to show you this with this yellow hoop because it's easiest. I know of 3 methods to get the hoop from the knees to the waist. One of them is marching, one of them is stamping, and the last one is the shimmy. Okay, so the first one is kind of a cheat and it doesn't look that nice, but I love it. And I can't remember who it was that showed me this first. So if it was you, please tell me. I'm pretty sure it was somewhere in America and I can't remember who it was. But anyway, so if I'm doing my hooping on my knees, be it 2 hoops together, or I've got one of my old hoop dance legs going. So yeah, the 3 different sort of types of doing knee hooping. So you've got like classic knees together. Oh, Emma, come on, even that out of it. Classic knees together, like circus. You've got pushing with your with one leg and pushing with the other leg. And one of those other legs, what I would say when you're doing the pushing is your legs are actually still together because you've still got 2 pushes. You've still got, the motion is actually, even if your legs are one further forward like this, let's show you my legs more. Even if one's further forwards, I have got shorts on by the way, even if one's further forwards like this and if you're doing a push like this, the legs are still latched together because every time you push with this leg, as you come back, the flex means you get hit on the other side. So even if you're not doing 2 knees together like this, if you've got one leg in front, notice that my supporting leg is still pushing back. Back, 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 back. Okay. So what we're going to do, actually, I'll leave it like this so you can see this. So option number 1 for getting the hoop up from the knees is marching. And what you want to do is turn in the direction of the hoop and you're going to do this. And it's slightly crazy. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely slightly crazy, but we're going to do it anyway. So from here, you're down at the bottom, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn in a circle and just keep marching, and with quite high knees. March, 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 march. Ta-da! So that is a 2-leg march, march, march. Okay. The second method is like one leg does. I call it the stamp. And same thing again, but this time. And I would recommend if you're going to the left, using your right leg, and if you're going to the right, using your left leg. And what you're going to do is just stamp the hoop on one side. Now, if you do this stamp, flat foot stamp, you don't want to do this. Your foot comes down right next to your leg. If you're going to do, and you can go up on your tiptoe eventually as well. So start flat foot and then go up onto your tiptoe as you go up. This is going to be, it will work if you get the timing right standing still, but it looks slightly less crazy, and also possibly it's possibly like easier to do if you do this while you're turning around. So again, why is my hoop at an angle? Emma, naughty. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a problem with my knee hooping. I've got a 12-year habit of doing it on an angle. So what we're going to do is stamp with our right leg as we turn. Stamp, 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 stamp. You do it on a yoga mat, your foot gets stuck. So yeah, not so ideal. But anyway, that's option number 2. Option number 3 is a shimmy, and I call it a shimmy because it's actually a belly dance move. So if you keep your legs, heels on the floor and run with your knees, what happens is it shakes your bum. Woo! And the people that can do this really fast are amazing. So that's basically actually there's 4 ways of getting up. So many ways. So if you start the running with your knees kind of makes your bum wiggle. So it's more of a bum wiggle than it is a bum wiggle, bum wiggle, bum wiggle, bum wiggle, bum wiggle, bum wiggle. And then the 4th way, which I didn't say I was doing a 4th way, but I am doing a 4th way, is kind of the spiral. Okay. And I would say this is like the nicest looking. And what you want to imagine is you're kind of spiraling the hoop up. And it's similar to the wiggle actually, but I think I try and make slightly bigger circles with my knees than, okay, I try and make slightly bigger circles with my knees. I kind of think about it like if your hoop is on your hand like this, and you want your hoop to travel towards you, what you need to do is make a cone shape like this. And to make a cone shape, what you need to do is make bigger circles with your hand, and then the hoop will travel up your arm. If you want the hoop to go that way, you need to make bigger circles with your shoulder and keep your hand where it is. It's trickier to make circles with your shoulder, to be honest. But once you get to your elbow, you can make bigger circles with your elbow than your hand. Okay, so it's kind of the similar. That's how I think about it when I'm using going up and down my body. Is I really think about sort of making the spiral and making the circle underneath bigger. So that might mean pushing your knees a bit and clenching your bum. So if you clench your bum as you're doing like trying to do bigger circles with your knees, it's going to make you wiggle more, but at the same time, it's going to allow that hoop to come up. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so hi Karen, that's good to have you here. Any tips on shoulder hooping without turning? So I have kind of covered this today already, and it's actually the complete course content of my Zoom classes. But just to quickly reiterate, wow, this is a weird look, isn't it? My dress and my shorts. Bear with me a second. Okay, so if I'm going to the left, I really think about the 4 different parts. I've got part number 1 is if I'm going to the left, I'm wiping the table with my right hand. Okay, so I can practice just that. I'm turning and I'm practicing wiping the table with my hand. And can I make the hoop go round just with that table wipe? If you're going to the right, it'll be your right hand doing the table right. So if you're going wipe, so it's left, it's your left hand, right, it's your right hand. Then you've got the poke the child. So if you're going to the left, you're poking the child with your right arm, and it's really just a sort of shoulder shrug. But I think of it as a point, because if you get into a habit of doing this, it's really uncomfortable. So I would suggest practicing really having your hand like out, like this, and then same on the other side. If I'm going to the right, my left arm now this is my Achilles heel. This one. I do it when I'm like this, but I forget to do it. And then if you try and keep your arms like really blocked down to your body, so you're not using your arms at all, you have to use your chest. And if you want to, like, so I'm just using my chest to move it forwards and backwards, either left and right. And you can also use your legs. Like, this is very much, again, this is all Baxter. I would highly recommend you check out his classes. So if you step as if you're stepping around a hula hoop. So if I put a hoop on the floor, and you can see what I mean. So if I put a hoop on the floor, see if I can get it in shot. Oh no, it needs to come this way. Technology. So my hoop's on the floor. I'll try and show you what I mean. So this is again all from Baxter. Highly recommend that you. So if I stand with my back to the hoop on the floor, that's helpful that my floor's all a crazy color, isn't it? Sorry about that. So if I'm going to the left, I'm going to step back with my left foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think, I'm pretty sure Baxter calls this mountain. So anyway, so you can kind of get the hoop to carry on moving without even doing any motion from your body, just the movement. And actually what I find is that so if you look at when I'm doing my left hand, when I'm going to the left, you can see that I'm using my body, I'm using my pusher hand, I'm using my across hand, and I'll show you turning so it's slower. But you can see that I'm actually doing all these motions to keep it going. And then obviously if you want to, you can even make it quicker with paddles as well. When I'm going to the right, you'll see what I mean. When I'm going to the right, look, what's it doing? Why is my left arm? Why is my left arm not poking? Why is it not doing it? So as soon as I start poking that, it all stabilizes easier. So what you can do, and as I say, totally all taken from Baxter. He doesn't say poke the child and wipe the table. He says something more, I don't know, cool and like, I don't know, mythology based. I'm like poke the child, wipe the table. But anyways, that's my vibe. That's how I am. But if you close your eyes and actually think about it, like, so you can actually, while you're doing it, so while you can be like, am I doing my wipe? Yes, okay. Am I moving my chest? Yes. I'm not doing that one. Okay. So maybe I can concentrate more on doing that. And I think you're trying to get contact all the way around. So yeah, that should help. Again, I'm going to be doing this in the Zoom classes this week. So if you'd like to rejoin for them, you're very welcome, or by donation. Okay. So Natalie has a question. Lots of people talk about flow. What does flow mean to you, and how do you think it can be achieved? Well, as many of you know, I'm a scientist, so I've actually read the flow book, which is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I even learned how to say his name. He was the one that coined the term flow. And so flow is essentially a state of being where you're you're not thinking about anything else, and the movement's just coming, and it doesn't necessarily have to be movement. Musicians get into flow, well, I suppose that's movement as well, let's be fair. But even when even when you're doing any activity, even if you're like walking, sometimes you can find a flow state but what it is the real flow state, or the actual flow state as it is scientifically, is essentially, it's all about, there's a graph. I'm going to try and do it the right way up. So if you have a graph and it's what is it? Oh, I haven't done this for ages. So it's effort versus skill level, basically. So if you're like really, so challenge versus skill. So at the very, very beginning, you can hit a flow state. Like, I must have spent hours in my bedroom just doing this with my giant hoop. And I was so happy, and I wasn't thinking about the next move, and I wasn't doing anything. And I really was hitting what I would consider a flow state, because my skill level wasn't very high, and the challenge level was low, and my skill level was low. So that was fine. As you start to get better, what will happen is, for you to be able to hit a flow state, you're going to need to challenge yourself more. Okay, so this is what's happening with me at the moment. I think I've been on a plateau for so long, and I haven't been learning new things. So I've been really trying to sort of like occasionally like explore Instagram without going into fits of like jealousy and depression that I'm not practicing enough, because it's like a constant challenge not to just get dragged into a world of watching people hoop and feeling bad that you don't hoop as well, rather than actually using it as an inspiration. But I've been trying to like take just the inspiration, and small doses of Instagram is very, very good. And then also, just challenging myself to new things and not giving myself a hard time when I'm not, hooping as much. But I think in the hoop world now, flow has been sort of shifted now to this idea of almost fluidity. And I think, to be honest, so when I teach, I hope I always teach with the idea. So when I'm teaching classes, I'll try and teach things in sequences. I tend to always, when I'm teaching something, try and teach, this is the trick, this is 3 ways of getting into it, and this is 3 ways of getting out of it, you know? And when I'm learning stuff, I'm always trying to connect the things that I'm learning to tricks that I know I do all the time. And I would say in sort of current hoop world, like terminology, flow is more about, it's more about fluidity and movement between, movement between motions, and being like comfortable with that. And I almost don't think, I think when people say flow state these days, or not flow state, but they say you're in flow, I think for me, that is when I'm feeling like I'm really into the music and everything's just happening. But I very rarely think about what I'm doing with my hoop anyway. I just let it happen, which is why sometimes I feel like I'm doing the same 3 sequences over and over again. And I have to think to break out of that, that little bubble of tricks. But yeah, I think I would say with the flow being achieved, one, it's a mental state. There's no reason why a beginner can't flow. The only reason they think they can't flow is because they've got it into their head that they need to be able to do X trick. I have to be able to do, you know, a 3-beat weave before I can flow with twins. I have to be able to do a wedgie before I can flow with 1 hoop. And that's just not true. It's not true. Like, you could have a complete flow with the hoop doing this, you know, and not doing any tricks. You know, you could just be like, and you could feel, as long as you're enjoying the music and you're moving around and the hoop is connected to you in some way, then there's no reason for me that that's not flow. So I think that the thing that stops people from feeling in flow is often an expectation of what flow looks like. And like, I am never, ever going to look like someone like Jennifer Dennehy, who's this, you know, who's absolutely beautiful hooper, but she's a dancer. So is her flow better than mine? Is that even a real thing to say, better or worse? Yes, she's 100% a better dancer, 100%. And her hooping is phenomenal, you know, and it's so beautiful and so flowing. And yeah, and like, I'm jealous of that in many ways. You know, I want long lines and flexible limbs and to be able to roll along the floor. But realistically, that's not where my skill set lays. And mainly because I haven't pushed that. Like, I haven't practiced that. So instead of making, I would say with the flow stuff, instead of making comparisons, try and take what you know, like now, without needing anything extra, because you can be in flow with like 2 tricks, you know. And so take out the expectation, and then I would say it's much easier to be flowy, basically, is what I would say. But what I would say for people like, for instance, me, like, I danced for 15 years, which is hilarious. Most people can't tell that, because I was never that good at it. But I started doing ballet when I was like 3, you know, but I still don't point my toes. I quit by the time I was like an angry teenager, and most of my teenagers were like, oh, well, I don't have to go to ballet, like that, you know. So I feel like for me personally, you know, even with like a bit of a dance background, I still feel just like a more clunky hooper. So I think practicing, if it is more about the visual flow of things, then I would say practicing with mirrors is the winner. I've never practiced with mirrors, but when I have been at places like Tadar and there is opportunity, I really notice things. And for me, I use Instagram actually, or videoing myself as a mirror. So I can see when I'm looking at these videos, so I do that. Like, so for me, you know, I was talking about this earlier on, my TV is so close to that. So I have a tendency to do this with my other hand. For years, I've been doing that. And it's only actually since I've been looking at my Instagram videos and I'm looking for a cover photo and I'm like, oh, my leg looks good in that. And then I'm like, what are you doing with your arm, Emma, every single time? So things like that are going to help with the sort of visual side of flow, which I think is also something that is, there's this kind of idea of it being more dancey or more whatever. And I just don't think that's, for me personally, whatever your flow is your flow, you know, and that, like, it's all about confidence, basically. That was a bit rambly. Apologies. Okay, guys, so there are 3 minutes left. Thank you very, very much for coming and watching. And this will be available on my YouTube channel, I think, and probably on my Facebook as well. So they'll just stay here, and so you can watch back and ask me questions if you want. I'm also doing the Zoom classes. The Zoom classes are 3 times a week. They're on Wednesday. Anyway, you can find all the information on the links. And I'm also doing ukulele classes, which are in about 2 hours from now. Anything else that I need to say? Yes. Homework for this week. Hoop Doctor homework. Hoop Doctor homework. Maybe I'll make a thing at some point that goes in at this point. So Hoop Doctor homework is going to be, I want you to turn a trick into a pickup. Okay, so this is turn your favorite trick into a pickup. So this is one of my favorite ways of getting creative, because one of the things that you will always do all the time is drop the hoop. So for instance, when I got into wedgies, I was like, ooh, so wedgie position, what's the wedgie position? The wedgie position looks like this. So what are the ways that I could get from the floor into the wedgie position? So I could maybe squidge the hoop up and then put my leg over. Okay, so now I'm in a wedgie that way. Or maybe if I put my foot in and then if I raise that foot up at the back and put my foot in, maybe that gets it into it, so I'm like a flamingo. Yep, that works as well. Or what about if I put it over my head and squeeze? Yep, that works as well. What about if I just lift this side of the hoop? It's my new favorite. I don't know if it's going to work. Lift this side of the hoop and get the other side in. Yep, so that's with a wedgie. So there's like loads of different ways that you can think of getting the hoop with a wedgie. And what about if I was thinking about trying to think of another trick? And again, so escalator again is something else. Let's think. What about picking up with, anyway, I don't want to ruin it. But what about if we were picking up with a chest roll? So could I roll it and then, get it into the chest roll that way? I could maybe even lie on the floor and do it that way. Or maybe I could, it's just something as simple as pushing it up like this and then turning around into the chest roll. So basically, I want you to take your favorite trick. Oh, I've just thought of one for elbows, because elbows is actually my favorite. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I've just thought of it. So I'm going to keep my elbow down. I'm just thinking of starting an elbow. I have no idea if it's going to work. So I'm going to push down on the opposite side of the hoop and then hook it up with my elbow, and then you can use your leg. Anyway, that was just something I thought of just then. So anyway, guys, I'd love you to try and do that for your homework. Please tag me if you do it. I'm trying to think of a hashtag for the Hoop Doctor. Is hashtag the Hoop Doctor reasonable, or hashtag Dr. Emma Kenna? I feel like it should have Hooping Mad in it. So I'm up for suggestions about what I should use for a hashtag for the Hoop Doctor Show, or just hashtag the Hoop Doctor Show. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, thank you very, very much for coming, everyone, and for all your questions. I will be here again next